the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on this Friday morning. We're glad that you join us whenever and wherever it is that you join us and make Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn intake. For athletics, Faith Richardson and Brett Pritchard here to get you started on your Friday. A little bit behind. Sometimes you just got to take a phone call. Some phone calls are more important than others. So, sometimes you got to take a phone call, and had a little conference call this morning there, Faith, for us. And but hey, we're up rolling now. Look, we're here for everybody. So we are glad to be back. It's a lot to talk about, and Jonathan already sending us a big War Eagle. We appreciate that. It gets our morning started, Jonathan, and we appreciate all of our regulars out there. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. We really, really appreciate all of you out there spreading the good word about us. And if you like our content, go make sure you hit that like button as well. I always point down. It's down there somewhere, I think. If they're tuning in, they'll see it. So, Faith, we've had a busy week. I'm glad to be cruising into the weekend. I know Auburn is the coaching staff's probably glad to be cruising into the weekend. Won't have any official visitors this weekend, but next weekend they've got another massive list of guys coming in that we'll talk a little bit more about, but we got other things to talk about as well. And before we dive into all of that, we always start with some of the best partners around. I'll argue with anybody on that. And Sensagreen.
Sensagreen, for air that's cool and clean, call on Sensagreen. They are the carrier dealers for the state of Alabama, proud supporter of Auburn athletics, and a proud supporter of the Auburn Blitz podcast. Like Brett said, we're going into the weekend. It's going to be a hot weekend. And that means that there's going to be AC units running. And with that being said, you don't want to have your AC unit broken or have it slow down or anything while it's this hot. So call on Sensagreen. They can install a carrier unit while saving you thousands of dollars and keeping you cool all summer.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have Memorial Day weekend hot than some kind of cold front coming through. But anyway, Scout Program Management, a full-service construction management firm in Birmingham, Alabama. Love those guys. Do a great job. Witness their work. Unbelievable. They'll take your project from start to finish and make sure it's done correctly. That's the important thing. If you're paying all that money, you better make sure it's done correctly. So call on Scout Program Management. They will get you to the finish line the correct way.
In Bunkers in Auburn, it doesn't matter if you aren't good at golf because they've got 27 other sports that you can play on the golf simulator bays. So, and you also won't be punching holes into the back of your garage because Bunkers, they don't have to deal with any of that. They've got great food. They've got great happy hour deals. They've also got 2 bars that are open, so you can go right up to them and get a drink while you're playing golf. Or even if you don't want to play anything on the golf simulator bays, just a great atmosphere, sports on the TV at all times. So if you want to watch any of the baseball going on, Bunkers will have you covered in downtown Auburn. 50 parking spaces in the parking garage behind them.
Can't beat it. Just can't beat it. Don't take our word for it, or take our word for it either way, because we really like them and their food's great.
Yeah.
They do have more than steak sliders on the menu, I promise.
They
Faith
do.
can't get past that, but she likes the dip too. Dip's pretty good. All right. Baseball didn't fare too well yesterday. Fell to Texas A&M 3-2. Auburn managed 2 solo home runs, and Texas A&M managed 1 3-run home run. That was the difference. The ball flew out of the park when somebody made contact. Auburn had some opportunities. The inning before, I think in the 8th inning, maybe 8th or 7th, I can't remember off the top of my head. Auburn had something going there, had a couple men on, and just ended with Ike Irish grounding out to actually grounded into a potential double play, and Eric Guevara slid out of the baseline to try to make it a little bit more difficult on the throw to try to help Ike beat the throw. He didn't really need to do it. Ike beat the throw anyway, so it would have put men on first and third with 2 outs, but the out of the base slide warranted an out at first base as well. So that was an inning-ending double play, and killed Auburn's little rally there. They come back and hit a home run in the last inning, but it fell a little bit short. So now they shift to regionals, Faith, and again, there's no fear of Auburn not hosting a regional. When you look back and see what Auburn's done, they have the number 1 strength of schedule in the country. They have top 5 RPI nationally, and they've got 15 quad 1 victories. So when you look down through here, where does that put them? They'll be can they get a top 8 seeds? The question here. Justin just said, Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball said we're still in line for nationals. That's kind of what we're talking about. In line for, and if Auburn gets a national seed, Faith, it's probably going to be 8. It's probably going to be right there at the very end. We're going to be on the edge. I really felt like Auburn needed to win a game, and Texas A&M did what they needed to do on the mound, but just didn't happen. So now we sit and wait.
Yeah, I was going to say kind of what you just said, that I think Auburn needed to win at least one game. And they couldn't. What did you say yesterday when we were talking? When's the last time Auburn won the SEC tournament?
1998.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
We've struggled in this tournament for years. This is nothing new.
I think you want to go all the way back to who played on that team. I was at Auburn during that time. Since we're saying a long time ago, I was a student worker there, working with baseball. Casey Dunn was on that team. There were a lot of great players, but it's just hard to believe that we would go that long without winning this tournament. And
at least you got really experience it.
Right. Well, I did.
As a student,
I had some good years at Auburn. There were some good, fun, athletic years. I mean, we want to flash back to that time frame for just a second. In '99, we had a number 1 seed in basketball and had Chris Porter and Mamadou Ndiaye and Scotty Pullman, and I can keep going down. I can list the whole roster if you want me to, but I'm not. So, but had a number 1 seed, made it to the Sweet 16 that year. Should have probably moved on to the Final Four that year, but fell short to an Ohio State team that was really good. Then in baseball, 97, went to a College World Series, came back 98, won the SEC tournament. I mean, we had real good stretch there under Coach Baird. Really, really good baseball and football. 97, we won the West, went to the SEC championship game, lost by a stinking point to Tennessee, 30-29, which sucked, but really had that game in hand. But so I had some really good years in football, baseball, and basketball while I was at Auburn. But nevertheless, fast forward to 2025, Auburn hadn't won that tournament.
Yeah, what a nice little flashback you gave us. Thank you.
I just thought I'd, give everybody a little bit of memory lane and how good Auburn, the years we had right there toward the end of the 90s. And then we went into coaching turmoil. Hal Baird left. We went through a boatload of baseball coaches. We ended up getting rid of Terry Bowden mid-season against in that year, 98. And basketball went down the tubes. Cliff Ellis left and was kind of forced out. So, yeah, it's kind of been tumultuous since then, up and down. We've ridden the roller coaster at Auburn. So we're used to it. So that's kind of why you see at the bottom down here, and I've got that down there for a reason, realistic expectations. And I really wanted to focus on football, but really realistic expectations for all Auburn sports. The bar's been raised. You had a great interview yesterday. Maka, I'll say that. Love him, by the way. I'm not going to even try to attempt his full name and sound like a complete idiot. But Maka, who is a phenomenal athlete, our track and field program, I mean, everything it seems like at Auburn, the bar has been raised No pun intended for track, by the way. Everything the expectations are higher, and they should be. And we've seen it in basketball now with 2 Final Fours. You see Coach Vickers come in with women's basketball and their expectation to invest in that program and get that back to a winning pedigree. Coach Thompson's done as good a job as anybody in the conference of getting Auburn deep in the postseason. I just keep going down the list. Auburn softball with the Malveaux now, thought, man, you can see the future with what they're doing. But football is the elephant in the room over here that everybody's trying to ignore, that hasn't really carried its weight. And this big stadium sitting in the middle of campus that attracts everybody to Auburn. And you and I were talking about home records, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But it just seems like we have high expectations, but what are realistic expectations for all of our sports? I know we kind of jumped all over the map. We'll go back to baseball here in just a minute, but I think it's fair in this day and age of how things have changed, Faith, with the rules and all. I mean, what is realistic for your athletic department?
I don't know. I think it just varies at this point year to year. I think there's just no regulations on anything anymore. I mean, we already had a change in the 12-team playoff last year in football, and then now there's a new seeding model for next season. The transfer portal has changed everything. NIL has changed everything. I mean, the thing is I don't even know what an expectation is. We've said for how long that it's our year. This is the year or whatever for Auburn. Literally how long have we said that for? I don't know if going into the season with an expectation is going to keep me sane, because I think last year I went into the season kind of expecting things and they were not exceeded at all. And I think I personally feel like if I have an expectation going into the season, I'm going to get let down. So I need to just go in very open-minded, which is going to be hard, but I can't keep getting let down the way that I have. I feel like
we live in the past. All of us do as fans. And I think that, we have to be mindful that everybody wants to win. Pressure's on everywhere. We talk about the hot seat, so everybody's spending money as much as they can to enhance, their NIL. And then they've got to keep people can say, oh, well, facilities, that's in the past. No, it really isn't. I mean, it's how you manage all this stuff. You can't have a dump for a football facility and expect to bring in all the top athletes. You can't have a dump for a stadium and expect top athletes to go, well, I can just ignore that, because I'm getting a ton of NIL. They want to play in a good venue. They want to play at a place that's going to draw massive crowds. All of that plays in. Why do you think they bring people in on an official visit? If it were just all about money, you just get on the phone and say, hey, man, I'm going to pay you $4 million. And you go, okay, I'm just going to the highest. I'm just going to the college that's going to give me the most money. And you don't even care about visiting. You just say, I'll be there in August or I'll be there in January, whenever I can get there, and we'll just strap it up and get ready to go play football. It doesn't work that way. They take OVs. I mean, you've sat down with these kids and they talk about how important all that is. I mean, I'll use Jaquez. I know we use Jaquez a lot, but it was a great interview. Jaquez wants to be in a place where he can go fishing. He made it clear. He wants to be close to some bodies of water where, whether it be offshore or whether it be fresh water where they can go to a pond or a lake or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, going to the middle of a metropolitan area probably wouldn't be fitting for him. And so it's about environment. It's about the feel when you get there. So there is a lot that goes into it. Money is a big deal now. Everybody spend the money, but there is a reason you bring kids on campus.
Yeah, absolutely. There is. And I think you do have those select players like Jaquez who do care about a lot of those things, but I do think there are some kids that don't, and that have never seen those amount of numbers behind a dollar sign that just their eyes light up and they say, all right, that's where I'm headed. And I think it's just a way that nobody should expect an 18-year-old to know, number one, where they want 17 actually now, about where they want to go to school for the next 4 years, but also when that much money is included. And
Exactly.
we've said that a lot.
I mean, heck, now at my age, if somebody threw a number like they throw around, I'd be like, yeah, man, I'm in. There's a lot of knee-jerk reactions when you're 17 and 18 years old. There's a lot of knee-jerk reactions when you get into your 30s and 40s. I mean, based on, the environment that you're in or what's being thrown in front of you or whatever. So, and again, a lot of kids, it's also about who's around them and helping them make those decisions. So, confiding in coaches, a lot of these guys build these relationships. We use that word a lot on here. And I'm so glad to see that still matters. And I'll say this, and I'm not saying we won't run across somebody, Faith, down the line, but nobody really ever talks about the money first. Have you had anybody to your recollection that said anything about NIL first? Basically, they talk about the coaching relationships they built, the environment on the campus, those kind of things really take precedence over the NIL.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think I've had a single guy where I've said, oh yeah, he's in it for the money. I don't think I've really seen too much of that at all. But I do think there are a lot of kids that do just see that, and I think that's part of where we've seen the transfer portal really take a hit. I mean, Nico, for example, that I know he wasn't out of high school, but you saw what happened with him and his brother and everything like that. It doesn't stop even once you're at the school.
Right. So yeah, we'll dive some more into that as well. Mark, I think this is Dano. Yeah, Dano, it was good to see you guys too. Appreciate y'all stopping by. The Riley Green event at Backyard Dreams was awesome. We had a blast. So we're a bunch of people there.
I said, I thought Randy was just maybe going to come and stop by. And Brett said, did he say he was going to see that? I said, no, but I don't know. I kind of just thought maybe he would come by and say, hey, or, go with his kids. And he goes, no. I was like, okay. So I guess maybe that's what he was doing. He was watching the 2010 championship.
I can promise he wasn't watching the 2010 national championship game. He was probably pulling his hair out, going from one meeting to the next and one business to the next. If I know him like I know him, and I know him extremely well, he would have loved to have come down there, I can promise you, but other things were calling and pulling his attention away. So maybe the next cool event, we can drag him along. We would love to have him there. All right, we'll go to some more of our partners here on the program real quick. We got a lot to talk about this morning. A little bit behind getting started, but we're gonna get it caught up.
Sure Shot up 280. They've got all your firearm apparel and hunting needs. They sell and trade new and used firearms. Scott knows any single question that you can ask him, he's going to know the answer to. So calling him.
He really does. And he really does.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even matter. Safes, fire, like literally any gun. 256-329-0080. And Oliver Ross, if you've got a private party of 20 people or if you've got a convention of 20,000 people, they literally can bartend any kind of event that you've got planned. They're certified and licensed bartenders. So while you're focusing on the entertainment process, they can focus on the bartending so you don't have to worry about both things. Sorority events, fraternity events, any sort of date party like that for the college kids, they will be able to take care of you and be able to bartend whatever kind of fraternity, sorority party you've got.
And Mark will be having got a call from him yesterday, actually. And he's going to be having a little private thing at his house on Lake Martin on Memorial Day, and going to be doing some crawfish and all. So I think I'm going to swing by. I bet Oliver Ross is there serving drinks and making sure he doesn't have to worry about doing all that. He's going to be entertaining. So, yeah, plan on swinging by Mark's place. And all right, okay, I have not heard that, Mike. It said I read Tim Tebow was joining the Auburn staff. I have not read that one. If that's true, man, that would be pretty cool. I don't think that would be the case unless somebody else knows something I haven't seen or heard. That would be unique. All right. Want to dive into the college football playoff because some pretty big news came out yesterday about the restructure of the 12-team playoff. Just to kind of give everybody an idea, the past season, the first year, the four highest ranked conference champions earned the top four seeds, which we all thought was a flaw, right? Because you win the conference championship doesn't mean you're necessarily one of the top four teams in the country, but they gave the top four seeds to the highest ranked conference champions, regardless of where they ranked in the CFP. So now Notre Dame's eligible to get a first round bye if they are ranked in the top four. And then all four teams that earned a first round bye in the inaugural 12-team college football playoff, by the way, like we talked about the other day, they all lost. So, all right, so the five highest ranked conference champions will still be guaranteed spots in the 12-team playoff, but basically now they're going to go straight by seeding. So whatever that final college football playoff ranking is, Faith, is how it's going to be ranked 1 to 12. So you could have three. Let's just be hypothetical here. You could have three SEC teams ranked 1, 2, and 3, and they get three of the top four seeds. And if that's how the CFP sees it, and that's how they rank them, then that's how it will be. And so do you like that? Do you think they're trying to – do you think it's going in the right direction doing it this way?
I don't know.
Well, if you rank them, in my opinion, let's go back and see what it would look like last year.
Yeah, last year, looking at it,
if it were done the way they proposed it now, and you took the teams that made the college football playoff last year, instead of taking the top four seeds as conference champions, and you ranked them, what would it have looked like?
You would have had Oregon at 1, Georgia at 2, Texas at 3, Penn State at 4, and they all would have had to play. Oregon would have had to play
the winner of Indiana and Boise.
Indiana and Boise. And Georgia would have had to play the winner of Tennessee and what?
And SMU.
Yeah, and SMU. And then Texas would have had to play the winner of Ohio State and Arizona State. And then Penn State would have had to play the winner between Notre Dame and Clemson. All the comments I've read on this were like, Ohio State still would have gone in there and smoked everybody. Like, this is just going to let us win each year.
People are going to say whatever they want to say. I guess bottom line is they're saying just because you win the conference championship doesn't mean you get an automatic top four seed. This is really what this boils down to.
Yeah.
And we all know this will probably be the last year of the 12 team. They're going to meet. By the way, they did this over a phone call. Okay. They decided this over a conference call yesterday. They're going to move to 16 teams. And so this thing's going to continue to morph and change. All right. So if you give, all right, I'm going to go back and say what I think is another flaw that they didn't address. These top four seeds don't get a home game. So, again, now I know it's different. It's going to be a different scenario. These are going to be the top 4 teams in the country, according to the College Football Playoff Committee and how they rank them. But every one of I think that's part of the cool fact. That's one of the biggest cool factors about the College Football Playoffs is you get to play a home game in the first round.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Right. So, but now the ones that get the bye, they wait to go, for somebody in a bowl game. And like we said, it didn't work out too well for those that got a bye last year. All 4 of them lost. So, this thing will continue to morph and change. We know that. But, I guess that's breaking news in May when we're sitting here talking about, waiting on camps and recruiting OVs and all that kind of stuff, how the actual college football playoff will be determined. So that's just kind of a quick snapshot of that. Moving on now, by the way, I sent you something yesterday talking about NIL. Marcel Reed from Texas A&M. It really, truly.
Private jet NIL deal.
And he's not the only one that's done that. Jackson Dart had one. Quinn Ewers had it.
Quinn Ewers the first one to do it?
I think he was.
Yeah.
Carson Beck now. All right, so I wanted to shift back to something me and you and Randy were talking about yesterday, and that was the SEC win totals. And you and I and Randy were talking about Florida, 6.5 for Florida. I went back and looked at their schedule. Do you know they play 7 of the top 15 projected teams in the country next year? 7. They have the hardest schedule in the country. Their schedule is beyond brutal. So,
do you think that they did that Billy Napier did that because he's so confident in his team? Or that if they lose,
I think he's catching a bad draw on who he's playing in the SEC. Now he plays Miami, who's actually projected to be like a top 15 team this year.
With Carson Beck.
Yep. But
how old is he now?
I don't know. He's been it's been kind of a circus down there at Miami with him too. Not near to the level of Bill Belichick and his girlfriend. But it has kind of been a little bit of a drama fest with him, and he's made headlines for other things than football since he's arrived. Didn't he get his car stolen down there?
Yeah, but people were saying that it was his ex-girlfriend that stole it.
I
don't know if that's true. I'm just spreading rumors, but I'm just saying that's what I've heard. I read.
We just spread stuff around here, right?
Probably. It's probably not true. Don't listen to me.
Was it the Cavender girl?
Yes. They were like, oh, it was her that stole it. It's like, okay.
Well, according to the money they make online, I don't know that she'd need to steal it. She could just go buy it.
Yeah, I was going to say, she doesn't need to steal it.
Doesn't need to steal it. Okay. All right. Talking about realistic expectations, SEC win totals. We kind of carry this over, but I want to talk more about recruiting as well. But we didn't talk about Auburn. Auburn is set at 7.5. 7.5, Faith. SEC win totals for this coming up year. Is that accurate? You think that's about the right line? And do you think Auburn's going to go? Well, obviously, we've told everybody that we're over. So this is not breaking news. We've already broken this schedule down. So you and I both agree that it would be over the 7.5. But do you still feel? We may ask this every week leading into the season. You still confident that we can win 8 games?
Yeah. We should be able to.
Just don't look at the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Get let down.
I think we should be able to. I want us to be able to, obviously.
Yeah, I think all of us are ready to get over.
But I think 7.5 is a good line to put us at.
I do too. We know the bar has been set high for several teams like Tennessee and Texas, Alabama, and Georgia. The line's at 9.5. So, again, I think Tennessee's maybe too high. I think Texas, Georgia, and Alabama's probably right. If any of them or all fall under that 9.5, they go 9 or 8, man, it is a disaster with their fan base.
Mm-hmm.
With the expectations going in. I think the same can be said for us at Auburn. If we're down at 7 or 6, man, we are just to the point of explosion, and
It'll be a nightmare.
probably looking for a new coach. Let's just be honest about it.
It'll be a nightmare and a half.
It will be. I just thought some of these are interesting. What's another one on there that you see that interests you? Any other particular team? We didn't go through all of them yesterday. These are the Vegas odds, by the way, on SEC win totals for every team. Is there one that you think that stands out to you that we haven't talked about?
I love seeing Mississippi State at 3.5. I think that's awesome.
I mean, is there really anything you can do but go up?
Like, obviously Vanderbilt's at 4.5.
Yeah, and that's with Diego Pavia.
Yeah.
So,
but I just think it's awesome that State is at 3.5. That's awesome.
Not much better is Kentucky and Arkansas. So realistic expectations. All right, I want to shift over to recruiting for a second, and we've been talking about all the different prospects coming in and everything that is, all the OVs. And we had Jason on earlier in the week, and we talked about what we thought would be a realistic number of commitments going into the season. How many commitments would Auburn have? And I've read a lot of places, and I've seen a lot of Auburn fans tweet out some concern about maybe recruiting being a little bit sluggish right now. I don't know that it's sluggish. I think everything has changed a tremendous amount. I think there's
not a lot of people have committed. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I think people just feel like they don't hear a lot of buzz. I mean, it's just a lot of generic talk around some of these guys. But again, you got to remember the time frame of when these guys are taking OVs has changed. It's been bumped up, and they're trying to go through and do this in late May and June. And so I don't know that you're going to see a lot of commitments. I don't see a lot of teams getting commitments right now. I mean, to be totally honest. And so all you can do is get these guys on campus. But I've got somewhere I'm going with this. Is there going to be some hesitation from some guys that really like Auburn? But again, they're going, we see that they're building. We see that the roster's getting better, but the win totals haven't gone in the right direction. I just think it's so imperative this year, and I think you may see a late surge, Faith, of guys adding before signing day or flipping based on if Auburn can live up to billing and they can actually come through this year and have a good season on the field. I think there's just a lot of wait and see with this group. I think Auburn's in on a bunch of these guys, and a lot of guys love Auburn, but they're just not quite ready to pull the trigger and commit. They've got to see some. They got to see something. They're Missouri too. Show me.
I think after going and talking to a lot of these guys, and they want to take the time after going to the OVs and stuff, a lot of them do want to commit before their senior season starts. So yeah, I mean, I think going into the fall, there's going to be a lot of commitments then, or not, I guess not the fall, but late summer of August and stuff that people are going to commit in July and everything too. But yeah, I do think people will be hesitant. I think the first round of people doing it late summer after doing all the OVs and stuff, I think that's just going to be, all right, every single guy that we've talked to about it, they just want to get it off their backs for before the season so that they can enjoy their senior season at their high school for, just the last time, go ahead and not have to worry about all the stress and everything of that. I think if Auburn does start winning games and they don't, I guess, completely shut down everything and they're still into contact and everything of that, I think, yes, then we'll flip. We've been known to flip a lot of guys last minute. And I think winning games is going to be honestly like just the biggest, hey, we mean what we said
Right.
when you came and visited. Now that you see that we're actually changes in the works, come on and be a part of that next year.
And this is year 3, and this is where a lot of coaches, hey, they have to put up or shut up, and that's where Coach Freeze is. We like Coach Freeze, both of us do. Always very willing to come over and talk to us about whatever. But he knows that. He gets that. He understands that he's been telling all these guys for the last 2 or 3 years that he's been recruiting, the ones that he's got on campus now in this particular class here. He's been telling them, look, it's going to take us 3 years to get where we need to go. And, well, here we are. Here's year 3. And he even mentioned, we even one more year of roster building to really make us feel like we're where we need to be. We just need to win. I know we say that all the time. We just need to win games this year to keep this train on the track. We don't want to be in the 6-7 win area and be worrying about whether the administration's going to go in another direction. We do not need to change coaches, not in this day and age, and not with the momentum we've got with the recruiting and all that. I think the Travis Burgess commitment to North Carolina spooked some Auburn fans. I'll be honest. That's when I started reading all this stuff and seeing that guys are like, well, I mean, we ain't seen anybody commit to Auburn lately. And, we've got guys making other trips and other visits. And, we talked about JaMychal Garrett, for example, moving to Baton Rouge and, now having to worry about, that's going to happen. You're going to see things like that. Every school has commitments that they've got to hang on to. But I think when you see the end of June roll around, Faith, maybe going into the first part of July, we know there are a lot of commitment dates that we're starting to see advertised. We know Xavier Crowell has announced his late June. We know Sedarian will be July the 2nd. We know that Marquez Daniels is July 2nd, I believe, as well. I think isn't his
July
the same?
6th.
Or July 6th? Okay. Well, they're all right there, in that 2-week frame, 2-3 weeks. If all these hammers start falling and Auburn's not getting any of these guys, then maybe it could be a little bit of a concern. I mean, I'm not saying it will be, but a lot of these guys that Auburn is high on, and especially some of these in-state guys, and you remember how we dominated last year in-state, that's going to be eye-opening in one way, in one direction or another.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right.
So I think a lot of people are going to be watching. I mean, I just think that's a time frame. A lot of these OVs are going to be coming to an end right there, obviously at the end of June. So Bama Willie said Crowell and CD Big Bama leans according to experts. Yeah, I mean, I'm Bama. I've been around Sedarian. I don't know that, maybe some inside stuff with his family or whatever, but would I be surprised if both commit to Alabama? No, I wouldn't. I mean, I think Alabama is putting a full court press on all of these in-state kids this year because they didn't get any of them last year. I mean, they completely struck out in the top 10 last year. And look, I know they had a great recruiting class, but I think the message was sent, you better not go over in the state this year. So they've really doubled up their efforts, and we know this. Faith and I know it. We've seen it on the road. They've got guys everywhere, and they're trying to do everything. I think some of them are sleeping in parking lots at some of these high schools. they're out there, and because it was kind of a punch. What Auburn was able to do last year and go in and get handpicked almost everybody they wanted in the top 10 outside of Naeem Alford and Zion Grady. Zion Grady goes to Ohio State. Naeem Alford, I think Auburn was right there until Oregon threw the world at him. And so those were the only two in the top 10 Auburn didn't get last year. Alabama didn't get any of them. So, it would be a huge grab because obviously the 3 kids from Jackson are massive. Now I think Auburn is focusing heavy on Landon Duckworth, Faith. We talked about that yesterday. He's the only QB we got scheduled for an OV now.
Yep.
So Justin just said it.
Just win.
Just win. Just win. That's the bottom line. All right. Some more of our partners here on the program. Great people.
Old Number One Customs. Don't DIY it for 2 years. Get it done in 2 weeks with Old Number One Customs. They're going to be able to take and renovate your kitchen, bathrooms, anything. Don't let your wife hate you. Get it done with Old Number One Customs. Going to be beautiful results. And again, everyone just needs a little refresh every once in a while.
By the way, somebody stopped me yesterday and said, hey, they were talking about something. They said, just like you guys say, just like Faith says on the podcast, don't DIY it. So that thing's catching on, by the way. It's catching on, by the way. But yeah, Old Number One Customs, 334-752-6162. They will come and transform your kitchen or bathroom or both. They'll do both of them.
They will. But JFA Blue Plumbing will install a home Atlas water filter duo system for $15.99. You can't put a price on health, and you can ensure that every single faucet that water is coming out of is going to be filtered water. You don't want to shower with your Brita. You don't want to continue to use the refrigerator little tiny thing to fill up your dog's water bowl, because I have to do that right now. And it takes me 2 minutes to just fill up her water bowl. So very inconvenient. Go ahead and just get the JFA Blue Plumbing to install a home Alice water filter duo, and they will be able to get every single faucet with purified water at 844-JFA Blue.
Yep. Give them a call today. You cannot screw that number up. It's just too easy. It's too easy. All right. To close things out here this morning, it's been a great show. We appreciate the comments. Again, I think, everybody's got high expectations. Everybody's spending a ton of money. Everything's going on. So it makes it even tougher now, with the world that we live in. And I remember us having a conversation about a month ago about all this. It's like the Marylands of the world and now the SMUs of the world, and those teams, they all have money.
Yeah.
They can all go get these players now, and they can all coerce. And so when you used to only have to battle maybe 15 or 20 teams, now you're battling like 40, maybe 50. Maryland's a daggum guy. Maryland is a team and a program that historically hasn't been very good, but they've got Under Armour there. And, that's why the Zion Ely's of the world and those players right there, you're not just going to go in there and snatch them away. It's going to be a hard pull. So Jeff said he lives in Enterprise. Do know Zion really wanted to come to Auburn, but family pushed him to Ohio State. So, again, I think, there were a couple guys there in the top 10 that ended up going other places, but Auburn got the rest of them. And so, in the transfer portal world, Jeff could end up back at Auburn. Goes to Ohio State, doesn't work out. Hey, Joe Burrow started at Ohio State. He went, it ain't working out too well. Ends up going to LSU and winning a national championship and a Heisman. So it works out. By the way, there's a list of top players in the last, basically since 2000, that we'll go over next week, Faith. Does Auburn have a player, and I think everybody knows the answer to this already, a player in that top 25 list? The answer is yes, but where is he is the question. So star-studded list of athletes, by the way.
Yes, Justin, there is a new on the front row today. It's with Marquez Daniels. That'll be out at 2, so make sure to tune that in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely looking forward to that.
And we won't be on Monday because it is Memorial Day, so we're going to be able to have the day off. And
what are we doing? You
have
gonna
to
know
go.
what to do? I'm not gonna know. I mean, that's be the first time we've been off
I
maybe in
know.
4
In a
months,
long time.
maybe in 4 months.
Yeah.
Kinda looking forward to it, to be honest with you.
A day to sleep in.
Yep, no doubt. So, it's gonna be beautiful this weekend, I believe, pretty much everywhere. So, gonna be awesome. Really, really appreciate eating some pepper tree ribs. Outstanding. And by the way, we might as well throw that out there for everybody while we've got everybody's attention. The Memorial Day specials for Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine: 6 steak burgers, 6 Conecuh burgers, a pack of Conecuh sausage for $60. Are you kidding? Have you priced a pack of Conecuh sausage lately at the store? I mean, good Lord. So it's
Yeah.
worth it. This is worth
Yeah.
it just to get that. Then you can double it up and serve 12 people for $118. So
Never
really, I
left me
mean,
some pepper tree.
exactly. So they have the pre-cooked specials, Boston butt and ribs. And I'm just telling you, man, I've had ribs everywhere. Their ribs are phenomenal. They're the best. Outstanding food. Already getting hungry, Faith.
Yeah.
For Memorial Day brings around summer and it brings around good food. It brings around the lake. We're excited about it. Excited about it. So,
Amen.
all right, y'all
Everybody
have
have a
fun.
safe weekend.
Yeah, everybody have a safe weekend out there. Again, there'll be a lot of people on all these lakes, wherever you're going, down to the coast. And a lot of people travel down to Orange Beach and Gulf Shores. By the way, tune in our Gulf Shores show, our On the Road show. It will be coming out today, along with Face on the Front Row show or segment. So we got a lot coming out. We were at Orange Beach. That came out last week, and then we went over to Gulf Shores, and man, it was a great, great show as well. So make sure you tune that in. That'll be coming out on our Facebook page today as well. So, all right, we want everybody, like Faith said, to have a safe weekend and have not
The
just
best
the best,
day
not
ever.
just the best day, just have the best extended weekend ever, right?
Yes.
So make sure everybody's safe and have the best ever, whatever it is that you're doing, and a big old
War Eagle.